Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. From wherever you are watching, be it Nigeria, be it Ghana, be it United Kingdom, welcome back to my channel. Today is Saturday, the 11th of January 2025, and depending on the time you are watching this video, it's going to be a day before we have our match against Manchester United. That is in the FA Cup. This is at the back of our loss at Liverpool, and I understand that all of us are, we are more likely over that now. I mean, it's been a few days back, and so we are more likely over the match, and we are actually going to just be looking at what is going to be happening tomorrow. And also, yesterday, Mikel Arteta had a presser, and in that presser, he was asked some critical questions, and we're actually going to be going about those questions and the answer he provided. Maybe that can actually give us some insights into what exactly is happening at the Arsenal. The level of should our expectations be very high, based on the fact that Mikel Arteta actually gave us a hint on what could be happening, in the background. So yesterday he was actually up for a presser, just like I said, and he was asked some questions. If you remember, I think it was after the match we had against Newcastle, he arrived on a TV channel was granting an interview, and in that interview he actually said that he thinks Mikel Arteta needs help and that the help should come to him, or else, the team is just going to falter because we're actually playing and we are not scoring. So the very first question I was asking Mikel Arteta yesterday actually had to do with that. The journalist asked him that, Wright said you need help because if it carries on like this, you won't score. Your response. So Mikel Arteta responded and said, I have so much support from the board. I continue to have it, and we are all seeking and willing to do the same, which is to win the maximum amount of football matches in the way that we want to play. To achieve the goal we want, which is to win trophies, that support continues to be there, but we have our limitations. Now, this is the very first time in any interview that I have heard Mikel Arteta talk about limitations. The limitations can be in many forms. It's the limitations as a result of the fact that the club does not want to, buy some players. You understand what I'm saying? Like, is it talking about limitation in form of the club is not willing to actually buy some players, or maybe not willing to actually do some business right now? Or is the limitation based on maybe financial capacity? Maybe the club does not have the financial means, because there are two different things: the will and the means. Because if the club has the financial means, for example, but they are not willing, or because they do not see it as viable, they still will not buy any player. You understand? So as it is right now, Mikel Arteta has said that, there are limitations. These limitations, we do not really know why there are limitations. And the journalist continued to ask by saying that, are you having discussions with those above you? In his response, he said, we always have discussions with the one above, discussing how we can improve the team, whether if the market is open or closed, because we have to plan for the necessities when they are right and what the necessities are, medium or long term. So those discussions are always open. So this is one of the things we also talked about yesterday. So he very much made us understand that he can actually talk with those in the hierarchy. There is no issue, and for every transfer or something like that, there is actually a discussion based on if the market is open or the market is closed. But luckily now the market is open, but we are not actually seeing many activities. So did I actually talk when the market is closed? Because if you have been having a conversation before, when the market is closed, for example, you should be doing your transfers now when the market is open. So he was also asked that question yesterday, and that was actually the response he gave. Now, he was asked if he's going to prioritize a forward this transfer window. He said no. The circumstances change because we have certain injuries for some big players. So it is always a possibility, but always it's about somebody that is really going to make us much better. So as far as Arteta is concerned, Arteta knows there is a problem, but Arteta does not see the need why we actually need to probably bring in players, because in his understanding, he believes it's just the injury that has really made us become this open, that has really brought up this, criticism. But we all know as Arsenal fans that we actually need a striker. We have known before now, even though we have Havertz was never ever brought into Arsenal as a striker. He was brought into Arsenal as a midfielder to actually replace Granit Xhaka. So him playing as a false nine does not mean we actually have a striker. No, we do not have a striker. We actually needed to bring in striker, but it seems that Arteta does not see it that way. Another question he was asked was on whether he would like a versatile forward. So his response was, in the front position compared to what other clubs have, compared to what other clubs have done, and the expenditures that we have there, we are very far from it. Over the years, for different reasons. Firstly, that we have already have very good players and we have many necessities in the squad to achieve in that period. So he is saying that the club focus is actually not on the forward because we have some forwards, of course, in the squad already, the likes of Gabriel Jesus, and we used to have Nketiah, we used to have some of these players. But now Nketiah has left the club. Gabriel Jesus is not really what he used to be. So is Arsenal still banking on Gabriel Jesus? Because if you read this, if in the front position compared to what other clubs have done and the expenditures that we have there, we are very far from it. So he knows that our forward is not what we should have. He's comparing us to other teams in the EPL who are actually spending so much money on bringing in forward players. So if Mikel Arteta knows all of this, why isn't it also difficult to just make these things work? Because I mean, he knows that we have very good players and we have many necessities in the squad, and these necessities are that currently now our players are not very, very fine. We might have very good players. Fine, the injuries might have been back, but now we need to actually improve on our squad. So another question he was asked again is on the focus on his squad building, shifting from defense. If you know before now, Arteta has spent so much on building the defense, as well as, let me even say the defense. The defense has always been what he has been focused on. Even our midfield right now is not really what we want it to be. Our defense is very, very good. Last summer, we saw him bring in the likes of Calafiori to also bolster the defense, and we are currently seeing the rise of Lewis Kelly. So when you look at our defense, we actually do not have a problem in defense. In fact, we are actually playing not badly. But the major problem we have been having is that we are not able to score. We have not been able to score, and that is also as a result of our midfield. Personally, I feel Merino is not where he should be already. I think Merino can do better. So while he was having the presser, he was actually maybe he had some question, or he was reminded of how much he has spent so far as an Arsenal manager. And the journalist asked him, that is a Jordan from the Athletic, asked him yesterday that under Mikel Arteta, that Mikel has spent 299.2 million on goalkeepers. He has spent 275.4 million on midfielders. He has spent 140 million on forwards. And that includes Kai Havertz, who we actually signed as a midfielder. We did not sign Kai Havertz as a striker. We signed Kai Havertz as a midfielder. So we have not seen enough investment in the forward area. We have actually not seen. And remember, the likes of Martinelli and Saka, he met them at the club. So they're actually a gift to him when he came to the club, because he met them at the club and they actually formed very well. They have been playing very well. But now Bukayo Saka is injured and Martinelli is also not playing fine. So the investment in the forward has not been as much as the investment he has given the midfield and also the defense. So we actually need to step up our forward and be able to compete, score goals, and get the points that we need to get as at the time we need to get this point. So that was on the question he was asked yesterday. Another question, or the other questions he was asked about, and tomorrow we are actually going to be playing against Manchester United. So he was asked about that match. He was specifically asked about, Ruben Amorim, that what does he really, what does he make of Ruben Amorim since he has become a Manchester United manager? So he said, when you look especially at the big teams they have played, how they perform and the result that they have got, it is very, very impressive. I know him very well. I followed him a lot when he was in Portugal, and there is a big reason why he is where he is at the moment, and he deserves to be there. So he was asked again that on implementing his own style, when he first joined without many training sessions. Ruben Amorim has much more experience that I had at the time. So he is in a place and it is not COVID. So I think he's got better options in that case. It is tough because you need time to generate ideas, especially your way of playing and explaining that. And when you have that many games, it's tricky. So I understand. So he was also asked again on, another question that says on implementing his own style when he first joined with many training sessions. Now that is, I think you are trying to relay when Arteta came into Arsenal, and that was around COVID period. So when Amorim came now, so he replied and said, Ruben Amorim has much more experience than I had at the time. So he's in a place and it's not COVID. So I think he's got better options in that case. It is tough because we need time to generate ideas, especially your ways of playing and explaining that. And when you have that many games, it's tricky. So I understand. So basically, he's saying that he knows that Ruben Amorim is not really in a fine position right now. Not that he's doing badly, but he needs time to be able to build a squad, pass his message across to the players, and many of these related stuff. So he was actually asked another question that on noticing any difference in Manchester United when they played Liverpool. So he responded by saying that it is true they played a little bit different with the personnel that they used, the location of certain players, the characteristics of the players that they had, dedicate to what they want to do, where they are, and have more threats on both sides. So he went on by saying that to fit and in behind, because in the end, that is what determines the behavior of a team. It is different the last few weeks to when we played them here at home. So I'm expecting a few different things. So yesterday, he really talked about a lot of stuff, and this also was one of the things he talked about. So Manchester United tomorrow is not really going to be easy, because if you remember the last time, I think they won it twice under Eric Ten Hag. So it's not really just going to be a match that we just walk over. And currently looking at our squad now, based on the fact that we have injuries and many of these problems, I think it's really going to be quite a difficult match. So they went on by asking him on, Neto, we have the goalkeeper, Neto, that's our second goalkeeper, on Neto making a big contribution off the field. So he responded by saying that is always for players who have not played many minutes. In his case as well, so he said that's always for players who have not played many minutes. In his case as well, because it was cup tied in the Carabao Cup and David Raya has done so well, we will decide if he plays what's the best option, because historically the cup competitions have changed a lot. When you look at last week, the lineups years ago were completely different. So everybody has to be available and ready to play. So what he's saying here is that Neto is cup tied and we might probably not see him. That is in the Carabao Cup. But in the FA Cup, we might see him tomorrow. He says he doesn't really know that yet. So that is that for that. That was what he had in the press yesterday. But let us look at who will be lining up tomorrow in our match tomorrow. So remember, we are playing against Manchester United, and that is in the FA Cup. So tomorrow we are likely going to see the usual faces. We are going to see all of our defense, and I'm sure that Partey is not going to be playing anything tomorrow. Partey is not going to be playing the 2 role tomorrow. I'm sure he's going to be playing the midfield tomorrow, because we need Partey in the midfield, for goodness sakes. I'll be very disappointed if I were to be seeing Partey play as a number 3, number 2 tomorrow, when we can actually have, for example, Timber play there, then we have Calafiori play on the other side, or let Lewis Kelly play on 3, then we have Gabriel and Saliba at the back. Then in the midfield we have the trio, that is Martin Odegaard, we have Thomas Partey, Declan Rice, and we have Odegaard, So then forward we have our usual players. You understand? So I actually think that we should settle out tomorrow, because it's a must-win match for us, and there's actually no excuse. So remember, Bukayo Saka is injured, so we are likely going to be seeing Trossard and Martinelli on the wings, and in the midfield we are going to be seeing maybe Gabriel Jesus. Also in the midfield we are going to be seeing Laporte, of course. So with all of these things tomorrow, I'm hopeful that we're actually going to win. Yes, I'm hopeful that we're actually going to win, and the match is actually going to end by 10 goals to 1. So I don't know who will score, but I'm confident that we are going to win tomorrow. So with all of these things that you have heard Mikel Arteta say, what do you think? What do you think is going on with us now? Do you think we are actually serious with our transfers? Because what he said about limitations is very, very encompassing. I know it's just a word, but it could mean that maybe the board is not ready to do any business this period in time, or perhaps maybe the board just want to wait till the end of the season, the summer period, to actually bring in players. But if we are waiting till the summer period, we're going to be crashing out of a lot of competitions. Now we are just in 2 major competitions, and that is in the FA Cup as well as in the Champions League. The Carling Cup, as far as I'm concerned, we lost 2-0 at the Emirates Stadium to Liverpool, to Newcastle. So it's going to be a miracle if we overturn that at St. James's Park, because I can tell you from the first minute they are just going to park the bus and try to hit us on the counter. And now Bukayo Saka, who is our most dangerous attacker, is not even playing. I hope Havertz is feeling fine now, because in the last 2 matches he wasn't feeling well. Odegaard as well. So I hope all of them pick up their form and we can actually deliver on the matches. So guys, thank you so much for watching my video. Kindly like, remember to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much.